Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to part 27 of where I show all my vinyl albums. Now we're currently in the glam pop section of the 1970s and today's video is just Marc Bolan and T.Rex. So I'll get on with it. And the first one up is the debut Tyrannosaurus Rex album. Now people were fair in the sky in their hair, but now they're content to wear stars in their brows. Now I don't have any of the original Tyrannosaurus Rex albums, and when I first got into them way back in 1980 I bought the two Tufa albums, which I've now got rid of. This here is the double reissue album, which has obviously the record one is the full album, record two is various demos and so forth, and Deborah the single, and it's very good. And it's the same with this one here, their second album, Prophet, Seers and Sages, The Angels of the Ages, and this too is a double album. I think those were released around 2015 or so. The third one, likewise, Unicorn, again double album, and this has, you know, on the second disc things like Pewter Shooters on this, Blessed Wild Apple Girl, The Lion and the Unicorn, Demon Queen, Ill-Starred Man. So they are very good albums, and the bonus albums are extremely good as well. And Tyrannosaurus Rex, the fourth one is A Beard of Stars, and this too is a double. And the second disc isn't quite as good in this, but still it's not bad. But the actual album itself is brilliant. Okay, Flyback, the best of T.Rex. Doesn't that look a little bit like Hot Space? And this is a very good album, especially it has Blessed White Apple Girl and Once Upon the Seas of Abyssinia and Find a Little Wood, which were very hard to get. This was released around 1970 I think, and then this came out, and this was my very first T.Rex album, and this is exactly the same album as that, except it drops those three tracks and adds in Ride a White Swan, and this is probably one of the most important albums ever in my life, because this is the one that got me into Marc Bolan T.Rex big style, because I had this from around 1974, bought it off my cousin for 10p, played Ride a White Swan, that was it, maybe Deborah the odd time, but I really listened to this in 1980 and I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. Things like Lofty Skies and Consuela, Stacy Grove, Child Star, Cat Black, the Wizard's Hat, absolutely brilliant. Then we have T.Rex, and this is on the Fly label, and this is the first album under the truncated name, and this has got Beltane Walk on it, Is It Love, Jewel, absolute masterpiece. And then I got this, which is the double version of T.Rex, and yeah, this is very very good as well, and the second disc too is excellent. Electric Warrior, and this is an original one on the Fly label, and it's got the inner, it doesn't have the poster though. And this one here is the double version of Electric Warrior, and the second disc here has some instrumentals, various working versions, etc. An absolute classic album. I've got it on Deep Storm, Humble Sun, Cosmic Dancer, etc. And this is another Electric Warrior, and this I actually bought before the double one, and it's just a reissue of the album and it sounds fantastic. Bowling Boogie, the #1 album from 1972, which takes in the 4 Fly singles, few B-sides and the odd Tyrannosaurus Rex track, and it's an absolutely brilliant album. That's the one with Raw Ramp on it. Okay, the Slider, and this is a picture disc from Record Store Day. I bought this, haven't actually played it, I just bought it to have it. This here is the original Slider, the UK issue from 1972. This has got the 2 big hit singles, Telegram Sam and Metal Guru. This version was the first version I actually got. It actually has the track listing on the back, and it's the American version, although it's not in gatefold, it's on the Reprise label. And whenever I bought this, these albums were deleted. They were out of print, you know, in the UK, and I managed to get this out of a magazine, so I was delighted. Tanks, an original issue from 1973. Unfortunately there's no poster in it. And then Tanks again, and this is a recent reissue which I bought, and it sounds very good. Great Hits from 1973, and this says includes Marc Bolan colour poster. Unfortunately it's not there. I do have another one of these. It's the Australian version, but it's actually up on my wall, so I'm not taking it down. Just exactly the same. And this is 20th Century T.Rex, and I think this is a German issue. Quite similar to the Great Hits album, but it does have Mad Donna on it, and that was a song I'd never heard. I got this in the early 80s, again out of a magazine, on the Areola label, a label I just do not like the look of. Zinc Alloy and the Hidden Riders of Tomorrow are Cream Cage in August, the 74 album, and this is a UK original. Obviously I don't have the trifold or the multifold sleeve, but yeah, this is actually a good album. It takes a bit of getting used to, but it does grow on you, and this here is a recent reissue I picked up because it's a bit much better shape, although my own copies aren't in too bad shape. Light of Love, and this was an American only issue from the Casablanca label, and this sold absolutely nothing. And this came out before Bolan Zip Gun, and it's basically similar to Zip Gun. There's a few tracks from the Zinc Alloy album, but a lot of these actually got onto the Bolan Zip Gun. And of course we then have a UK issue of Bolan Zip Gun with the diamond cut sleeve, and yeah, it's not a bad album, it's not its best, but there's some really good tracks on it, like Solid Baby and Till Dawn. And there's a reissue, but there's no die cut in this at all, it's just an ordinary sleeve. Futuristic Dragon, and yeah, very good album from 76, although this should have been out actually at the end of 74 and very early 75, but original UK EMI issue. And then of course I bought a reissue just to have it and play it. Okay, Dandy in the Underworld. Now this is the Australian version, this is not a die cut either, and you can see it's just a photograph on a box of Mark on the cover, and that was the very first issue I got of that. And this here is the UK issue, and it does have the die cut circle, but it's not a bad album. It's probably actually my least favourite of Mark's albums. And I got this as well, and this is the double album on white vinyl, and this is very good, and this doesn't have a die cut at all either, it's just the actual picture. This is a very important one. Solid Gold T.Rex got this in 1980 in Belfast. My friend got it when he was up in Belfast, and whenever I saw all the tracks on this, you know, I hadn't heard a lot of these songs because I knew the very big glammy hits, but the ones from about Teenage Dream onwards I didn't know. Teenage Dream not actually on this, but this is absolutely brilliant. And then this one came out in 1980. Solid Gold was from 1978, and this is basically it takes a couple more singles in with Celebrate Summer and To Know You Is To Love You, but basically this is the B-sides, the Unobtainable T.Rex. This one here is the T.Rex collection, and I got this out of Woolworths, and this is basically some of the Fly stuff, so the 4 big singles and a couple of Transource Rex tracks. This one I remember coming out and buying this on the week of release, T.Rex in concert, getting really excited, taking it home, listening to it and thinking it's absolutely vile. It's a really, really bad recording, but still, I'd never heard a Spaceball Ricochet by that time. This one here, You Scare Me to Death, from 1981. And this is taking some of his old demos and putting a backing band to them, and I actually do like this album. I do think that these recordings are better than the original demos, although a lot of people say no, just give me the demos. I actually do like that. You Scare Me to Death, the title track, was actually a minor hit single. This is Across the Airwaves, and this is basically Radio Sessions, and the one song off this I'd never heard before was Sailors of the Highway, from around the time of Electric Warrior. This is Dance in the Midnight. This is very similar in a way to the Scare Me to Death, where extra instrumentation was put on a lot of these demos, and I do think it sounds pretty good. It was released in '83. This one's actually '82, Billy Super Duper. Some instrumentation was put on these, not as much, but this is a good album, and it's got a lot of tracks that would have been released if he had been alive, would have been on the next album, like Hot George, Mellow Love, 20th Century Baby, Love Drunk. This one, Beyond the Rising Sun, Marc Bolan and John's Children. I bought this because of the track Beyond the Rising Sun, which I hadn't heard. The rest of it is basically John's Children and some of the demos, which I'll show in a minute, from an album that came out in 1974, the beginning of Doves. But yeah, this was extremely cheap, but it's not a great album at all. This is from '85, and it's the best of 20th Century Boy. It's a double album, and I was delighted about this because it actually got in the top 10 in the UK chart, so it was great to see Marc with a top 10 album. This one here, Till Dawn, and this is really scraping the barrel. This is taking 11 songs and getting Bill Legend to put a new drum pattern on them, and it doesn't work at all. The second disc, however, is a radio session from 1972, an acoustic set, which is very good. And this version is actually from the Marc Bolan fan club, so you do get an interview disc, a third disc on this, which I think I've only played about once. This is the beginning of Doves from '74, although this is a 1990 reissue, or '89. This is Marc doing his Larry the Lamb with his acoustic guitar, singing away, trying to get a record contract. But it's okay, but it's hard going at times. This is the Marc shows, and these are the songs from his hit TV show. And I always loved the version of Hot Love on this. Unfortunately, it's really a cut just the way it was on the TV show, so a lot of these are not full versions. But yeah, it's decent. And Sing Me a Song was a hit single '81. This here was released, I think, around '89. This is, I think, 1992, Marc Bolan T.Rex Ultimate Collection, and this was released after the success of 20th Century Boy, so it must be '91. Yeah, it's okay, but there's about nearly 20 tracks on this, so it's all squeezed together a little bit, better on CD. This one here is T.Rex Remixes, and it's okay, but it's a triple album and it was extremely cheap, but I've only played it once or twice. It's not brilliant actually. This one here is the Electric Boogie, and this is a pretty good album. It's got various different demos and so forth on it. There's a lovely little acoustic version of Truck On Type from 1971. The single wasn't released until 1973, but yeah, pretty good. This one here is Born to Boogie, and this is the live album. So basically the first disc is the afternoon show, the second disc is the evening show. They're both the same set lists. Yeah, very good. Very good film. Weird film, but good. This is the Rainbow Theatre, Live at the Rainbow, and this is from 1977, so this is a pretty good concert as well. The sound quality is not bad on it. I actually had this on CD, but I bought the original version, which had the second disc was actually from 1974. On the CD with this issue, it was like a radio show, but the '74 disc I think is absolutely brilliant. It's actually better than the '77 concert. This is Truck Off, the tour rehearsals, which is great, and a magnificent version of Born to Boogie on it. This is the final cuts, and I think this may have been a Record Store Day version, and it's on picture disc. It's a pity it wasn't just on black vinyl, but yeah, this is really good. This is similar in a way to the Billy Super Duper album, but this is much better, and a fantastic version of Write Me a Song on that. This is Bump and Grind, and this is various outtakes and master versions and so forth. Really good. I think it was Record Store Day. This was definitely Record Store Day. Shadowhead. and this is great as well. And this has got a wonderful 74 version of Baby Boomerang on it. This is Star King, another Record Store Day one, and yeah, this is good as well. Like you have the demo of the Groover, you have a working version of Born to Boogie, you have Big Black Cat, you've got Baby Boomerang as well, 74 in this. Good album. This is Rockin' and Rollin' T.Rex. I wasn't going to buy this because this is like a Japan compilation that came out in Record Store Day, but I did, and it's very good. It's just from around, I think it was around 73 or so. This is T.Rex in America, and this is very good as well. This has got the version of the Groover that you can see on YouTube, and he's wearing like his blue glam suit. Jeepster, Hot Love, Get It On, and you get Radio Jingle, Elemental Child Duel, and the T.Rex album advert. Yeah, I like that back cover actually. I think it's pretty cool. That's during that Hot Love session. This one here is, I can't remember the name of it, the Gilded Cage Recall 75, and this is really good as well, and it's got things like Savage Beethoven, Brain Police, Billy Super Duper, Depth Charge. So some of those songs got on to the Billy Super Duper album, and a few more. Sister Hall, Do Your Thing. This is basically the Sister Pat Hall album, which I have on CD. Mark wrote a lot of songs for that album. It never actually came out until the mid-90s, and she does a version of Jitterbug Love and Get It On, but there's other songs like Ghetto Baby Blues and Tell Me Now, which are Bolan songs. It's actually quite good, very funky. This one here, Marc Bolan, Electronic Music, and this is a lot of the very old stuff like The Wizard and Beyond the Rising Sun, The Third Degree, so it is very good. And then the John's Children's singles as well. To go along with that, you have Pictures of Purple People. This has got the really old stuff like The Road I'm On, Gloria, Blowing in the Wind. And you get San Francisco Poet, which was an early B-side, so it should really have been on the other album. I'm Weird, Eastern Spell, so you do get a lot of those demos that were found on the beginning of Doves. And the last one, and it's a double album, and it's the greatest hits, and it's T.Rex Gold. This charted as well, and this is very good. It has both the Fly and the EMI hits, and there's 24 tracks of it. So that's my Marc Bolan T.Rex final albums. I hope you enjoyed that, and the next one will be Slade and Sweet and Roy Wood. Okay, that's me for now. All the best now. Bye bye.